People often ask how I'm doing after losing my husband, but what they don't see are the moments when the camera is off. In January, I unexpectedly lost my husband. Today, I'm sharing what healing actually looks like when nobody is watching. Hello, my name is Ekima, and welcome to my journey. Okay, let me also get back to what I was doing, which was getting ready to go into my office for a little bit and work on some things, because even though I am laid off from work, I am trying to stay in a routine of working. And so while I'm taking this little bit of time off from work, I still want to at least work on my social media and also looking for a position that I'm okay with accepting. So I've been kind of been doing all of that. But anyway, so I think at one point, I think people kind of get their own idea of how you're supposed to be, or they just think that because you're one way when you're younger, I guess, that, oh, wait a minute, that's what I said. Hold on for a second. Okay. All right, I had to log into my computer, and I'm gonna use this little thing to soak my nails in. Some of this stuff spilled out. How, I don't know. When I was coming downstairs, it was like, it was just just enough trickled out of here. And I'm like, it ain't that much in here. Ah, anyway, I should have just ordered some more. That was my fault, because I could have just ordered some more. Ooh, maybe I was supposed to pour it in there. All right, this thing doing something crazy. Oh shoot. Or maybe that's it. I don't know, child. It's probably putting off fumes. Okay, we're gonna do my left hand. We just gonna soak it. I don't know. I never, the last time I did this, it was a headache. So I'm only imagining that it's gonna be a headache again. Um, but like I said, I would, if I was still working, I've been paying somebody to take these off, because this is ridiculous. It should not be this complicated to get them off of your fingers. I just got tips, thank God. But I have tips, but I've got that gel polish on top of tips. So if you know, you know. Now I do have the little setup to where I can, file it down and everything, drill, the little drill thing. I can do all of that once I get it to that point, but it's getting it to that point to me that's aggravating. But anyway, so what I was about to say, let me drink some water because I have not had any. Since I took my medicine this morning, and I've been drinking my iced brown sugar espresso, shaken espresso. The at-home version. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that video. I am gonna tell y'all how I make mine, because it's nothing fancy, but it is. I mean, honey, if you know, you know. I'm Starbucks queen. I am. Unfortunately, I'm a Starbucks queen. I am not proud of it, but I became, I guess, addicted to. We're going through our class, but let me stop. I became addicted to Starbucks, and probably 2006, 2006, 7, maybe 2007. Yeah, maybe 2007. I became hooked on some Starbucks. And yeah, I just have not been able to shake it since. Now, I'm not saying that I go out and buy it religiously since then, that I've been buying it religiously since then, but I went through stages where, like, if I'm on a travel assignment and I needed some energy, honey, your girl was going to buy Starbucks like every day that she's on her way to work. If she can. If it was possible, I was stopping at Starbucks every day on my way to work. And that's like 312s. So, you know, and then if the day that I'm off, if it's 2 days that I'm off in a row, probably one of them days I'm going to get Starbucks again. So I was doing it like that for a while when I was working in the hospitals. But when I'm probably outside the hospital. I don't know. Starbucks and work just became hand in hand. And so I have to tell myself, you know, to back off and, you know, focus on the big picture, you know. Starbucks is okay as a treat, but I don't need to be buying Starbucks on a regular basis. So, that's kind of where that came from. But anywho, so I purchased a Keurig because I just was using regular coffee pots for years. Like, I didn't switch over to a Keurig till it's 2026, so maybe 2020. Maybe 2020. Might have been about 2020. I don't think it was 2019, but anyway, it was either 2019 or 2020. I switched over to a Keurig. And I did that because I had started back buying Starbucks. And it was just like, no ma'am, you know. And so I had to do something different. And so I got a Keurig, and with the Keurig, I got it so that I would teach myself how to make those same drinks because I could make a mean cup of coffee. So I knew that if I got something more advanced, that I'd be able to, you know, pretty much master it or whatever. And so I got the Keurig. I started making my own little Starbucks drinks, and I mean, I can do them. I can do them. I just, and I'm going to get back to the subject at hand. I'm sorry, guys. I done drifted off, honey. That's that menopause. That is that menopause. Just hang in there with a sister. I'm going to get to the finish line. But, we turtle walk over here. We not the rabbit, we the turtle. Or tortoise. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, but I can't remember how they say it. It's the turtle or the tortoise or whatever. But, you know the story. If you don't know it, then you're probably young, but you should go look it up. I think it's the tortoise and the hare. Is it? I don't know. Somebody tell me. But it's the rabbit and the damn gone turtle. And the turtle ends up getting to the finish line first. So yeah, I'm the turtle. I may slow walk it, but we're going to get there. And then with the menopause, it's terrible. But anywho, yeah, so I can pretty much make just about every Starbucks drink that I, you know, order from Starbucks. And I make them to my satisfaction. So I can take a break from Starbucks. But if I'm traveling, my husband always knew, if we getting in that car for a road trip, honey, or a flight or anything, if we going somewhere, we got to stop at Starbucks. Except when we went, even when we went camping, we had to stop on our way out. But now while I'm camping, I would make my own coffee in the camper. So, but yes, honey, that was my Starbucks. My husband knew it. When we got in the car, he knew what it was. Okay, I know, going by Starbucks. He had got to where he would be like, I didn't, at first he was, it was like he would joke about it. Like when I first kind of turned him on to Starbucks, he would kind of joke about the drink he wanted, and it would just be pretty much a dolce latte. He would just name a bunch of stuff, but I knew it was pretty much what I'm ordering. And so then he, because he got to going to Starbucks, got to liking Starbucks. And so he would go sometimes, on his own or whatever. And he found that he liked the cinnamon dolce latte, I think was the name of it. So the first time he ordered it, I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And he said, just tell him that is a drink. Watch. And it was a drink. But he I turned him on to Starbucks, and that was kind of our little thing. So when we went on vacation, he ordered his drink too. But excuse me. So anywho, Starbucks, I make the drinks at home, and so when I say I got a brown sugar shaken espresso, that's what I got. And it tastes like almost spot on. Some days more spot on than others, because the other day, I tell you, I made it, to me, it tasted exactly like I had picked it up from the drive-thru. That thing was something serious. I was like, oh my God. So if I can, this one is not as good as that one was, but it's good. Well, let me not say it as good. This one is not as close to the Starbucks version as that last one was. So I gotta get my recipe right, because if I keep doing that one in particular, to me it's exactly like Starbucks. And that's without the mocha. I add the white chocolate, pump of white chocolate. I think they call it white chocolate mocha, but anyway, I add the pump of white chocolate to it at Starbucks. But and that's because to me at Starbucks, without that, it's just a little tad bitter. It's like, so I need something to kind of soften that, because I like a strong coffee, but I don't like it to be strong like I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be feminine strong. But anywho, I think at one point, I think when I was younger, and I'll just go ahead and say this, and we're going to move forward, but everybody got a pass, and I got one, too. And it's not for anyone to take advantage of or anything, which I don't care. Whatever. I'm not one of those people. Anybody know me know Ekima is far from yeah. I have a past, and I was not always I've never really been, you're not gonna do too much before we can talk about it. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, I have a past, but I leave it in the past. I was not always the nicest person, but I'm not going to say I've always been a nice person, but I think I was always the person that, not always, because I didn't get tried a lot, but if I got tried when I was younger, it was more of, I think, because people would take my kindness for weakness. And I'm kind by nature. I mean, like I probably done said in a million videos by now, I'm an Aquarius, and I'm a true Aquarius. Like, I'm a true Aquarius. I mean, I'm going to do what the hell I want to do, pretty much. I know that there's rules and guidelines and things like that, and I do follow them. Not saying that I have always, but I do follow them, as I have grown up and realized I follow the rules and guidelines. I don't overstep. But I just never really, you know, I was always the type that, you know, I allowed people to, you might think you're gonna get over on me, or you might think you're gonna get the best of me, and eventually you're gonna see another side of me. And that's not, and that was the old me. You know, well, I'm not gonna say the old me, because it's probably still me, but I'm just saying the old me. I would defend myself if need be. I would defend myself, and we'll leave it at that. How about that? I would defend myself, but I don't look for. I never looked for trouble. That was never me. But if you brought trouble to me, I was not gonna turn away from it. I guess I would say it that way. But anyway, I'm a different person now because, for one, I'm older. When you get older, to me, some things you got to leave in the past. I mean, come on. But I think because of kind of the type of person I was, and when I was younger, but I was younger, and this is what I want people to understand. But I did grow out of it. When I was younger, I probably did chase money. When I was younger, I probably did chase money. And so I've been down the road that I hear a lot of women talk about, but I was just the type that I love me. Ekima loves her. I love me. And so there's only so far I'm willing to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing my dad, and Lord rest his soul, I loved my dad. Like, I lost my dad like almost 3 years probably before losing my husband. Yeah. So, well, like 2.5 years. I think it's a 2.5 year time span between the two, because it may be 3 year, but no, I think it's 2.5 time span between them, because my husband bought my dog that I have now. He bought him for me that Christmas following my dad, and he did it it was like an emotional thing for him. Like, that was, he did it. He had a reason for doing it, and I was kind of upset at first, but because I never said I really wanted a dog. Like, I would joke around about it, but I never seriously said it. And but because he did it and it had like a sentiment involved, I learned to love the dog. Like, you know, my dog. I mean, I'm saying it, the dog as in what the dog I'm referring to, my dog. And the reason, and it was, when I say I learned to love him, it was quick. Like, it was, don't think I was mistreating him or nothing. It was quick. I mean, he was a puppy when I got him. I'm gonna put some video up of him, but he was a puppy when I got him. So, I mean, he was a newborn basically, and so come on, you're gonna learn to love him, and that's the time when you're gonna love them. You know, when they're a puppy. So, I mean, come on. But anyway. My dad, one of the things he used to always say to me, and this is something that if you want to adopt it for yourself, you can, because these were powerful words. My dad told me from a young girl, he has always told me from a young girl, have a mind of your own and think for yourself. And I need to put it on a t-shirt, because those words, I think, helped make me the person that I am, as far as I feel like I'm a pretty strong person, as far as the things I've had to go through. This stuff is soft, and I think that's about all I'm gonna do. This is ridiculous. I don't think your hands should be in that stuff that long. So let's wash this. Let's go wash this stuff up. Ugh. And we're gonna toss this. Ooh. Yeah, because I don't. That's why I only get these things rare, very seldom. Because, and I got some press-on nails, and I'll start putting those on when I want to have some nails. But yeah, for this right here, I don't like that. I don't like having my hand in that mess like that. But anywho, so he used to always tell me that. And I feel like my eyes are red like all the time. But it's allergies, guys, because I do be out. And you start, well, you probably don't know, but I just walked again the other day outside with my mom, yesterday. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday. So that pollen had my eyes irritated pretty good. In the spring. It kind of, goes away late spring. But anywho, what was I saying? Yeah, so that's what my dad used to always say to me. And so with that, I've kind of always been like that. And I've got a towel in the bathroom, but I usually just come out here and get a paper towel. And when I have company, I try to put paper towels in the bathroom. Okay. But anyway, so my dad used to always tell me that. And so that's just me. That's another aspect of me. I really do. I'm going to do what I feel like is best for me in the end. That's just, that's what it's going to be. And so, anyway, I think some people, might have thought that I probably would chase money my entire life or whatever. But I quit doing that when I was young. I mean, I got married fairly young, so I was still in my 20s. Just later 20s. But I wouldn't have, I would not have, I couldn't continue that. Like, I used to like the fast life. I was definitely caught up in the fast life when I was younger. Like I said, my husband, this was my second marriage. I was married when I was, like I said, in my late 20s. And so I'm talking before I got married. I'm talking from, graduating high school to when I met my husband or whatever. Well, probably no, before him. When I met my kid's dad, I probably started slowing down then, because when I had my oldest daughter is when I started slowing down. I think she was maybe 2. I say first 2 years I had pumped the brakes significantly, but I wasn't 100% until as far as I still liked going out. I still liked doing stuff, but I had just slowed down in the aspect of that. As far as I wouldn't, what am I trying to say? I had slowed down in the aspect of I wasn't ripping and running like that, and I was kind of looking to chill by the time I had my daughter. I had a past, and I could have, continued to date guys that, you knew you could get, the money from, or, who was going to spend the money. I could have continued dating guys like that. But back when I was growing up, when you was dating those guys, 9 times out of 10, they were seeing somebody else. So that's just the reality of it. I mean, I don't remember any I don't know. It's hard for me to remember any guys back when I was younger that were not wilding. Like, you may go through, like, maybe they went through a period where they wasn't, but child, from what I can tell, and just based on my friends, my experiences, I just think that our generation was wild when we were young. And it forced the girls to, even if you weren't wild, it might have made you appear wild because you was with somebody different. Now, I don't know, maybe not, because I can't say that. Well, yeah, it could, because I don't know. Like, everybody's different. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the way I grew up, we grew up fast. The people that grew up around me, I feel like we grew up fast because I was usually in like a city environment. So I do feel like we grew up fast. I feel like we experienced a lot of life quickly. And in saying that, I mean, you know, we were, you know, we were around drug dealers, we were around crime, we were around all that stuff. If you grew up in that type of environment, you know, you were exposed to that, and it was your choice. Most of the time, I don't know, it's just like, I don't know. But that's what I was around. You know, I was around a lot of that at a young age. And so that's kind of where people may have expected me to gravitate to, was money. But I didn't, because I saw that life and the worst sides of it. Like, I saw the worst sides of that life. And to me, there was nothing in that appealed to me. Like, I don't want to be in prison. I didn't want to be somebody's main chick, and I knew they got a side chick. I didn't want to be wondering, you know, if somebody was going to kick the door down or whatever, and you get caught up in it, or if there was going to be, you know, someone trying to rob them and you caught up within that. You know, it was so much negative that came with it, to where I was like, girl, you already make good, because I was always from the time I graduated high school, I was making good money just on the job. So I always had my own money. And I think I always had a car, because my mom, the man that she was dating when we were in that age period, he made sure that we had a vehicle to drive, you know, and so I always had a car, you know. And then when I aged out of that with them, then I got my own car because I had a job. So I just used my credit and got me a car. So I was 20, I think 20 when I financed my first car. I think I was 20, you know, but we grew up a little faster. So anyway, I was always good in myself. And so seeing that and living that made me just, so I didn't like marry a dope boy or anyone in that type of lifestyle, because I had decided I no longer was interested in that. So I wanted someone on the straight and narrow. I wanted someone, but still had a little flavor, had a little, I really, that's why I say, like, me and my husband were just, he was my guy, because to me, he gave me just enough of that past love, you know, as far as a little bit of that street or whatever, you know. He had a little bit of that, but then he was like so smart. And so we vibed together, because he had all of what I liked or wanted in a man. He was able to give all of that. And like I said, I don't care about money. That's not me. I don't want somebody that's broke incapable of making some money. Now I don't want that. That we will fall out. We ain't gonna work. That's gonna be a no. But and it's not even gonna be anyone with potential. But you ain't doing nothing as far as that ain't even gonna be it. My husband had potential and had more potential than he even knew he had. And so we were able to build a life together. And that's what it was at that point. Like I wanted someone that I could build with, because by the time he and I got married, I was, a little more experienced. I was a little more aware. But I would have grew into that with my first husband. But unfortunately, if both parties have to want the same thing in a marriage, in order for it to work. And so because we didn't, it didn't work out. And it's fine. I don't have any ill feelings toward my ex-husband. He gave me a beautiful daughter. So I don't have any ill feelings toward him. And me and his sister, his mama, and his daddy, rest his soul, I love them. You know what I'm saying? And his aunts, uncles, I don't have, I love his family. But anyway, what I was getting at was my husband now, we just, all the boxes kind of checked. And like I said, I don't focus on money in a relationship. I quit doing that. Like I told y'all, when I left that, I left that. And so I didn't even want that mindset. And I could have, because, honey, I got some people very close to me. I ain't gonna call nobody out. But I got some people very close to me that, that's important. That is very important. Or it was, at least, important. And so it was an expectation, that you come correct or you can't come. And I just wasn't like that. I just wasn't like that. I'm a more humble type person. And so I was able to do that when I was younger because it didn't matter. And you were, that's what you saw. That's what you heard. That's what it, you just kind of rolled with it. But I'm glad that I had my dad to always say to me, have a mind of your own, think for yourself. Because with that, I was able to do just that. Because it had been drilled in my head from a little girl. And so when I saw, no, this ain't for me, it wasn't for me. And it completely turned that off. Like it turned it off to where it wasn't even a thing anymore. Like you didn't have to, I don't have to, if I meet a guy, he ain't had no bunch. If you couldn't take me to the finest restaurant, but you gonna take me to a nice restaurant, I am okay with that. Because I made my own money. I make my own money. I've always did that. And so I don't have to have someone to financially take care of me. I don't have to have someone to do everything around the house and the yard in order for me to feel like you doing, like you, I don't feel like that's you, that's you, that's me. I don't feel like that. I feel like my husband would wash the dishes sometimes. I might have to cut the yard sometimes because, that was just life. My husband traveled for work for a period of time. My husband got sick later on in our marriage. And so it was times I did things. And so what? You in it together. What difference do it make? You in it together. All that, my man got to do this. I don't subscribe to that because to me, that's not a realistic life. You can go into it that way, but I don't care what, and this is what it is, when Tyler Perry put it out there, what is that, 80-20? That is period. It's not just a man with a woman, honey. It's a woman with a man. So it goes both ways. Your ass might be his 80. Let's keep it real. Because some women don't cook. Some women don't keep a clean house. Some women kind of disrespectful in my eyes to their men when you wear, to me, if you wear too revealing clothes and you married, I think that's disrespectful. That's my opinion. You can get mad if you want to, honey. Just keep it cute, keep it clean. But you can because we can, I'm grown over here. We can agree to damn disagree. Or you might be able to persuade me to be like, okay, I can see it both ways. You know what I'm saying? So, we can do that here. I'm perfectly fine. I want to engage with you guys because that's what this is about. So, but anyway, yes, I just don't believe that. I would, the way I look at my husband, the way I looked at my husband and the respect that I have for him, I tried to always keep in mind how would Tyler in here groaning and he must want to go outside. Ooh, I always tried to keep in mind that that working out supposed to trying to get to me now, y'all. But I'm got to get over the hump if you know where it gets to hurting a little bit. But I look at how I would want a woman to treat my son, or a girl to treat my son. Well, it's gonna be a woman. I mean, they grown. But how I would want a woman to treat my son. Like, I don't want someone dogging my daggone son out. Got him out here doing all the work at the house, and your ass think you're supposed to be what they call it, a princess, or well, not a princess, because I ain't got no problem with that. I call my daughters princess. But don't be thinking that your ass too cute to help out sometimes. That's my thing. That is me. Now, I don't believe in that because, sometimes you can push men over. You can push them too much, and they may not be telling you everything that's going on with them. What if your man low-key sick? Because I didn't know my husband was sick, honey. I did not know my husband was sick until he got real sick. I did not know. And I'm not saying that was what led to him passing, because it wasn't. But my husband had gotten sick and I didn't even know he was sick. So men don't always tell you everything. But if he's telling you he need help, respect that. Even if he's not verbally telling you, you know your husband. You know your husband, and if you don't, you may not catch on. I'll tilt y'all this way, but it's gonna turn. Let me see how much it's gonna turn. Still gonna turn too much. Hold on. Okay, that was a quick one. But he may not tell you he's sick or whatever. And then what? It's just a matter. All I'm saying is,
from your calendar, reservation starts in 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. I canceled that reservation, child. So how you ain't see it in my? Well, you wouldn't see it. Well, yeah, you should have. No, it wouldn't. Yeah, it might. I don't know. But anyway, But yeah, I just don't believe in all that. Now I believe you're supposed to both equally, try to help. Both equally should be helping. There should, it shouldn't be one person got to carry all the load all the time. Now, I don't believe that. Now, you may have to carry the load sometimes, but it definitely should be something that you discuss and something that, there's a time frame on and things going to get back to normal or whatever, But, anywho, I said all that to say, me and my husband, we went through a period, my husband and I went through a period in which we lived below our means. And some people probably thought, and I feel like I did have some people to think that we had fallen off or whatever, or what was going on. And it wasn't like we was living that bad. I mean, y'all can see it. I was still posting video. I mean, I was posting videos. I'm just saying we were living below our means. And that was because, and I'm saying this not to put you in my business, but I'm saying this because it may be helpful to someone else, or give someone encouragement, or let someone know it's okay. Because, honey, this life is not easy. It's not easy. We can put on these fronts like everything is so good and all this. No, everybody go through their ebb and flow. Everybody had their ups and downs. It is not always gonna be hunky dory. And so, and when you're building a marriage, a life together, you will probably definitely go through a period in which things are hard. And unless you and if you don't, then kudos to you. But some people do, especially if they're starting over, like me starting over after my first marriage, him starting over after he was not married, but he was in a long-term relationship with his children's mother. And so with him starting over from that, like you have to, you got to rebuild, yes, you can say that, okay, well, that you need to rebuild separate. And then when you get built, then you come together. You can say that, and you can do that if you choose, and you let me know, how it worked for you. If, and it may work fine, but let me know. Did it work for for y'all to do it that way? I don't know. I didn't do it. We didn't do it. We wanted to be together, so we were together. Now, we waited on marriage. We waited 3 years before we got married, but, we were married 13 years, together 16 years. And so we did wait to get married, not because he wanted to wait, but because I did want to wait, because I felt like, let's make sure, because I done been through this thing, and I ain't trying to, get no divorce again. I just, he didn't want to ever be divorced. He wanted it to be one. He said it was going to be one marriage, that he would never remarry, even if we didn't work out, which we said we was going to work out. So it wasn't, that was. So we waited, and but we saw that regardless, we were gonna ride for each other. I mean, we saw that in those 3 years. We saw that, and so it's like it is what it is. We got married, and we had hard times, and it wasn't always peaches and cream, but we got through it. You know what I'm saying? We got through it. We got to the other side, and hey, that's the key to me. Is that, are you willing to stick it out with someone and get through the hard time to the other side? Because you're gonna have some hard times. I mean, if you don't, you need to be writing the book on marriage. You need to be putting this stuff. You definitely need to be the person that's out here as the relationship guru or whatever, if that's the case. Because I would just be surprised to hear anybody say that they, marriages went through and didn't have any problems. Your problems may not be financial problems. Your problems may be infidelity, and you stay with the person. Your issue may not be infidelity. It may be lack of love. It may be lack of trust. It may be lack of respect, like you argue all the time, but you stay together, or whatever. Everybody got something. And so I just don't believe that no marriage is here and the woman has not had to make sacrifices, and even the man have to make sacrifices. So that's what it is. That's the only way you're gonna make it, to me. To me. So anyway, yeah, so I'm sure that people judge you and they shouldn't, you know, but you can't worry about that. You can't worry about that. You have to let people, you know, people are going to make judgment of you, just like I said, as far as me getting on here, not, you know, being made up and all that stuff, you know, if, or showing glam, you know, a glam lifestyle or whatever. I'm just a regular person, honey. I'm just a regular person that decided to pick up a camera. I, with just a regular career. I'm a nurse. I've shared that on here before. But a regular career, gotta work hard just like everybody else to survive. My husband was a welder, had to work hard just like everybody else to survive. We done went through our ups and downs. We decided that we wanted our marriage to work, and so we stayed together. Um, we've never, I do feel like there was no infidelity in our marriage, which was what, for me, if it's not that, and I decided to marry you, then we gonna have to push through it. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. If you decide to marry somebody and there's no infidelity or abuse, then I don't. I mean, I think you gotta tough it out, don't you? You know, and so that's why I say, you know, make sure that when you get married that you know that that person is your person. You know, make sure that and I know that people make mistakes. I mean, some people, you know, when you get married young, I'm not always going to say that it's a mistake, because it could very well last, because I know I've got a cousin that's been married. I think they got married, he was straight out of college. So and they still together. I was shocked. I was shocked to hear that. But so it's like it can be done. It still can be done. But like I said, even for them, I'm sure they went through hard times too. But they decided to stay together. You know, and that's the thing. You've got to make a decision to stay together, because this person is more important to you than, you know, being back out here trying to find someone else, or any of that, or just not having that person, you know, in your life. You know, is it more important? You know, and for both of us, we decided that it wasn't. It's not more. I don't desire to be with anyone else physically, and as far as I knew, he didn't either, and neither one of us was hurting each other, you know, beating on each other or nothing. And we both wanted the marriage to work. We both came together and could sit down and talk when we, you know, felt like we were going through things. We were able to do all those things. So I don't feel like, so neither one of us felt like there was ever anything that we were bumping heads on that we needed to divorce over. So yes, that's that. And so I say all that to say that it's okay if you go, your marriage is your marriage. The one thing that I did one time that I regret doing is telling my family something about us one time. And I shouldn't have did that. And I would advise anyone, you know, don't do that. Don't put your family in your marriage. That's just not good. It's not healthy. All it does is make confusion that don't even need to be confusion. Because your family is always going to side with you. So it's better not to do that. Yeah, so the main thing is just, if you decide that's your person, that's who you want to marry, that's where your heart lies, that person isn't doing anything to hurt you, you know that person got your back through thick and thin, then yeah, that may very well be your person. And who cares what anybody else think, you know, because it's you that has to live with that. No one else does. So that's how I look at it. It doesn't matter when you go through stuff as a couple. Keep it as a couple, because nobody can know what's going on in your marriage unless you tell them. Because if you two have that type of bond to where, you know, y'all ride for each other, who's gonna know? Because you're gonna keep that such a secret. So it's okay to it's better to just keep it that way. To just keep whatever you got going on in your marriage. If you don't feel like it's serious enough to bring someone else into it, like, to me, if the person is abusing you, then heck, I would hope you tell somebody. But if they're abusing you, I would say, you know, yes, you probably, if you need it, you need to probably reach out to somebody and at least let them know. But then you got to go through the steps yourself to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't drag your family into it anyway. More so the police, if anything, you know, but putting your family, because people funny now when it comes to stuff like that. So you have to be mindful of that. But anywho, if they not hurting you, then that's probably about the only thing you need to bring your family into, if anything, by just making them aware. Or if you know, and that's only if you feel like you have to, but you know, but at least get the authorities involved, or you know, yeah, get the authorities involved and then do what you got to do for yourself. But that's that. But and then if they cheating and you don't want, and you want to leave or you want to be out of it, then just be out of it, because biblically you can be out of that. But if you're gonna stay with them, then you know, you got to be willing to go through it, because it ain't gonna be easy. But if you want to stay with them, then you stay with them. But you stay with them, you can't go out and cheat to make it even, because that just done defiled the whole damn marriage. I wouldn't advise that to nobody. But just yeah, so I would just say, if you get married, you have to know that this person is who you want to be with, and keep other people out your marriage and you'll be fine. But just know that it is not going to always be peaches and cream, and you have to be willing to go through the tough times just like you're willing to go through the good times. And if you are, then that to me is the best advice to give to someone that's getting married. And I said that too because my daughter had asked us at their wedding to give them advice on how to make their marriage work, and that's what I think. I think that's how you make it work. Keep people out of it, and know before you get married that this person you willing to ride with, you know, we're gonna ride till the wheels fall off, how you say it. So if you're willing to do that, then you'll be fine. Just know that when it get tough, it may get real tough, because you don't know what God's intentions are or what his plan is for you. You don't know. Your lesson may be Job's lesson, where you got to lose everything. I mean, you don't know what your lesson is, honey, but there's a lesson in everything. And so just know that you have to, but you guys have to go through it together. Like, it can't be just one of y'all going through and the other one just kind of jump ship or whatever, because that's not fair, and that doesn't show that you're a team, that you're one. That doesn't show that. You both got to be willing to go through it together, you know. So yeah, that's that. And so if you know, if those are your things, then hey, you'll be fine in marriage, and just keep your head up, because you may have to, depending on your circumstances, if this is a second marriage for you, or if it's, you know, whatever, you may have to rebuild your, and if that's the person you decide that we're going to build together, because that's what a marriage is, you are supposed to build together. If you're going to build together and you're going to have to sacrifice the glitz and glamour for a while to build, then that's what you have to do, and let it be. Don't worry about it. I mean, well, you might worry about it during the time, because you probably be mad a few times while you're going through it. You probably be mad a few times, but when you build, then that's what you building, and it's hard. So, but eventually you'll get there, and then you'll be able to, look at it and be happy. I just, I feel like that's the, the thing for us is that, I feel like we were building, but, I mean, we were still building, because I don't think once you start building, I don't think it really quit. It really stops until you, get to retirement or whatever. But, we were still building, and, life happens, and so things may not always go the way you want them to go, but it's not our choice. It's not our story. We just players in it. We're not the writers. We're not the authors of this. So we're just going with what is we're just going the course. We're just following the course. So it is gonna be what it's gonna be. Yeah. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here, but I did want to share that with you guys. Really, I guess the big thing here was, to kind of sum it all up, was be yourself. I'm going to be myself. If you decide to continue on my journey, just know that I'm going to be myself, honey. I'm not trying to be nobody else. And that I feel like I'm a humble person. I'm not a wordy person. I don't talk a lot, except when I'm comfortable around people. What else? I don't tolerate a lot of foolishness. I kind of like things to, let's just keep everything on the table, keep it open, keep it real, we ain't got to be pretending, that's me. What else? If you done made it this far, you're getting to really know me, so you're getting some extra stuff, because I know most people ain't gonna watch all the way to the end. But yeah, I don't tolerate foolishness. I think I said that. But I like to be around people, have a good time. I like to laugh. I like to just be silly. I mean, even though I'm older, I still like to be silly. Child, sometimes I'll be real silly. But I am just laid back, down to earth. I don't like all that. It don't have to be all extra and stuff. I'm laid back. I mean, I guess I'm laid back. I'm an Aquarius. Look up my sign. I'm an Aquarius, child. I don't care about all that foolishness. I'm going to be me, in the end. I'm going to be me, child. And so you take it or leave it. And I'm not digging in my nose. I mess with this nose piercing. I got my nose re-pierced, and I'm loving it. But this new thing that they do, back in the day, honey, when I got my earring, it was an earring with the back on it. Now it's like this little long thing, needle, I guess, with an earring on top that's in your nose. I don't know. bar. Maybe it's called a bar or whatever. Oh yeah, and I gotta tell y'all what I did to this. I'm probably telling another video because yeah, I had to use my common sense to get this thing right. But anyway, so that's it. Just I just like to be real and laid back and have fun, laugh. I get dressed up when I feel like it's appropriate to get dressed up, but I live my life to be I live comfortable. I like to be comfortable. I like to be cute but comfortable. So that's it. That's how. That's me in a nutshell. And I don't, and like I said, I don't like, I'm not a wordsy person. I don't like a bunch of talking. I don't like, we ain't got to talk all the time. We can talk sometimes. Sometimes I want to talk. Sometimes I don't. And I think, to me, all people like that. So, I mean, I'm going to respect you when you don't feel like talking. Respect me when I don't feel like talking. And we going to meet in the middle and we'll be talking. You know, we'll talk enough. So that's probably why I'm better for the camera, because I can pick this thing up when I feel like talking and I can talk. And yeah, and that's it. But yeah, I don't like all that. I get in my moods where I want to be bothered, but I feel like everybody do. But I'm the type of person that can respect when you in your mood, and I just want you to respect when I'm in mine. But yeah, and that's the thing about me and my husband. We was that, like, we knew each other. Oh, and he was a Sagittarius. So if you go look up Sagittarius and Aquarius, honey, they say that together we like a damn, probably a damn tsunami or something, but that we could compatible. And that's what we was. I'm gonna try to put a clip in here of the song that reminded me of us. And he told me one day, he heard me listening to it in my playlist, and he heard it pop up in my playlist, and he was like, you know, because he lost his brother some years back as well, and me and his brother was real close, real cool. I loved his brother, and he said that the song that I was playing, he said that was his song. And I said, for real? He said, yes, he used to love that song. I said, that is crazy. I said, because I hear this song and I think about me and you. You know, like our when we first got together, the honeymoon phase of when we was just enjoying each other. You know, I think about that song, reminded me of that. And yeah. And so yeah, and so I'm gonna put some of it in here. Y'all probably know it. Most of y'all should know it anyway. But I'm just gonna play a little bit of it. I don't have the clean version, which I need to change it and put the clean version on my playlist, because I really don't listen to real, you know, I don't like the vulgarity in music anymore. I've gotten too old for that. So I do prefer when it's a clean version. So I need to change that, because I didn't realize it was a vulgar version until so I got so many songs on my playlist to where it only cycles through periodically. And so when I hear it, that's when I'm like, oh shoot, that song vulgar. But I need to probably go on there when I get off of here and go ahead and update that. But yeah, anyway, that's it. I know this has been a long video. I apologize, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, because it kind of gave you a little more insight on me and my husband, our relationship. I say our thoughts on marriage, because even though he cannot, you know, be here to speak for himself, every time I share stuff, I'm going to be as honest as I can and try to be as fair as I can. You know, I have no intentions in, you know, not being truthful or sharing both sides honestly as to when I bring up things about marriage or whatever, because there were things that my husband, he prefers you to dress simple and not be showing everything. My husband didn't like that, but I didn't either. As far as for a woman that's married, I felt like, women should be covered. Now, I feel like it was times that you can dress, you should dress sexier or, and he was perfectly fine with that. My husband enjoyed seeing me dress sexy too, but he just still did not like anything that was too revealing. Like if you got your cleavage out, it's going to be some cleavage in certain outfits or bathing suits or whatever, but he just didn't like that being your thing to where all this is showing or your booty showing. He just didn't really like that. He didn't think that was appropriate for especially a married woman. And we agreed on that because I felt the same way. I don't feel like, I do feel like you dress more conservative when you have a man, because why do other men need to be seeing what your man getting or whatever? I don't believe in that. I'm going to get ready to get off of here because I done probably talked y'all head off, but I don't know. I just was in the mood to share those things with you guys, and I did, and that's it. That's it. That's all. I'm finished. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. And I would just kind of label these some type of conversation and say watch to the end. And I want you to try to watch to the end, because these videos will be conversations just like this. And you see kind of how I threw stuff all throughout it that may have been interesting to someone or helpful to somebody. So those are the ones you might just want to play, while you cleaning up or getting ready for work or something like that. You may just want to play these type of videos in the background. But anyway, I'm going to get off here, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.
Low-key, we were like Bonnie and Clyde, baby. It was plain as day, we still tried to hide them feelings inside. Do you remember? We used to vibe, baby. And I grip your thigh, baby. 80 and a 60, fuck a tick, fuck it. I ain't She told me that she cooking, I said, gonna make a plate, I'm on her way. Ay, ay,